Season 2, Episode 11 of our monologue series, Be Curious, moving from labels to mechanisms. Most people in our field think they understand what they're seeing. Most don't. They recognize it, they can label it, they can describe it, but they don't actually understand it. And that distinction is critical. Richard Feynman said something very simple and very powerful. Knowing the name of something is not the same as knowing something. Now, in coaching and in mental health, we have become very good at naming or labeling things. Labels like anxiety, trauma, attachment style, dysregulation. We can describe them, we can explain them, we can sound intelligent when talking about them. But explanation is not the mechanism behind them. And mechanism is what produces change. So let me orient this properly. The most important skill you can develop is not technique. I believe the most important skill you can have is curiosity. And curiosity asks really different questions. Not questions like, what is this called? But questions like, what is actually happening? And the first place we apply that is here. The problem we're facing right now, is this nature or is this nurture? Was this person born this way or did they learn this behavior? Because if it's a learned behavior, it can be updated. If it's conditioned, it can be reconditioned. And if it's encoded, it can be re-encoded. From a neuroscience perspective, much of what we call pathology is actually learned nervous system behavior. It's patterning. The nervous system encountered something and adapted, and then never fully resolved that adaptation. So now we can go deeper. Curiosity asks, what is the purpose of this pattern? No pattern persists without function, without higher purpose. Anxiety increases vigilance. Avoidance reduces exposure. Emotional reactivity mobilizes energy. These are not mistakes. These are solutions. And if you remove the solution without understanding the problem it is solving, the system persists and resists. So we stay curious, and then we go deeper again. What is the impact of this behavior? What is this doing to the nervous system? What is it doing to sleep? What is it doing to emotional regulation? Because now we shift from story into the system. Sleep disruption, hyperarousal, emotional volatility, these are not personality traits. These are outputs, symptoms. And outputs tell us something precise. They tell us the system has not resolved some past affective event. And now we move into mechanism. And this is where Feynman becomes practical. He said if you cannot picture it, you do not understand it. So picture this. The client experiences an event. The nervous system activates. The sympathetic activation. Adrenaline, cortisol, heightened perception. And then for some individuals, that activation does not resolve, meaning it does not shut off. It keeps operating. The memory remains affectively charged, not just remembered, activated. And this is a critical distinction. This is not a thinking problem, it's a memory processing problem. And the memory follows rules. If you want to change the system, you have to work within those rules. So first, the memory must be activated. If it's not activated, it's not available for change. And second, when the memory is activated, it can become labial. Labial means unstable or malleable, open to updating. And it's open for updating for a limited window. And now there's the concept of memory reconsolidation. While the memory is labial, what you do matters. If nothing changes, the memory will reconsolidate in the same way. If you intervene correctly, the memory can update in a positive way. And now this is where real precision matters. Techniques that engage in visual spatial tasking, specifically loading short-term working memory, interfere with the intensity of that memory while it's labial. Visual spatial tasking techniques reduce effective charge, not by talking about it, not by reframing it, by using the same neural resources the memory depends on. Working memory becomes occupied. Imagery degrades on the effective memory, and emotional intensity drops. The latency drops. And now the memory is no longer held in the same way. And now we can move into the final stage, sleep. Sleep is so very critical to mental health because the brain completes its work during sleep, specifically during REM sleep within the ultradian cycle. And within the ultradian cycles of sleep, the brain reorganizes memory. Short-term traces begin transitioning into long-term coherent storage. And when effective charge has been reduced, that transition from short-term to long-term can occur. The memory integrates. It's not erased, it's not forgotten, it's integrated without its effective charge. And when it integrates, the system no longer responds as if it's happening now. This is why when an effective memory resolves, sleep returns. Not because someone feels better, certainly not because they're exhausted, because the system completed its process. Now step back. Take another step back. This is why curiosity matters. Because if you stay at the level of labels, you never reach the mechanism. And if you do not reach the mechanism, you cannot produce predictable long-term change. Curiosity forces you deeper. Is it learned? What is its function? What is its impact? And what is the mechanism maintaining it? And then, what is the precise intervention required to update that process? That is the work. Not talking more, not explaining better. It's understanding what is actually happening and working directly with it. Feynman didn't try to sound smart. He tried to understand. He explained that sometimes he would look at equations over and over and over again while his peers had moved on to a new equation. He was desperately curious. And in our field, that is the difference between average and exceptional, curiosity. So the next time a client presents something, pause. Instead of asking, what is this called, or what is this? Ask, what's happening? And do not stop until you can see it. Because when you can see it, you can help the client change it. And when you can change it, the client's system resolves. And that's not theory, that's mechanism.